AEW Dynamite was last night, and there were a lot of things that were happening. Number one, Maxwell Jacob Friedman is obviously the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion, and he has a new belt to go along with it, the BBB, or the Big Burberry Belt. Number one, what were your impressions on the belt?
I loved it. I thought it was like such a good heel move. It made me excited because it reminded me of being a kid and we watched John Cena come in with like his own first custom belt. And I feel
Hmm.
like in order to even like get a company to just construct a whole new belt to fit your character, they have to view you to be very high. So, that obviously to me just made me think like thank God finally like this is really MJF's freaking era to
Hmm.
get your own belt. And he was the first one to deserve to get his own belt. I loved it. I loved how they just only changed the strap to it, but they still kept the actual like AEW gold and the engravements on it. I
Hmm.
love that about it. Some people thought it was tacky, but even if it's a little tacky, it's even better because you know what I mean? Like the thing about MJF is that he doesn't give a crap.
Right.
He wants to flash his money, flash his worth. Of course, it goes with the Burberry scarf or whatnot. I think it was amazing. I loved his promo. He took up like 20 minutes of our time, but it was pure gold. The whole lead up and presentation to it was just amazing. How he just slandered us for falling for what he thought. Um, and then the whole heel turn on Regal, which we're gonna get into. But I just thought it was just an amazing moment. And if anyone deserved to get a custom belt first, definitely MJF. There's no one else I honestly think at this moment in time deserves a custom belt, but MJF definitely did, and it was just done wonderfully. What is your take on the belt change?
The belt change was phenomenal. Like you said, it definitely reminded me of like when Cena popped out with that spinning US championship for the first time in Armageddon '04. Yeah, I think it was Armageddon '04. It was so dope because like you said, considering all of the people that have held that championship, CM Punk, John Moxley, Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, Hangman Adam Page, like these are guys that are not just notable wrestlers, but they're also notable brands. And if either of them were to get a custom championship, it would make sense. However, MJF having his own version of the belt elevates the championship and also elevates him, right? Like he's the only one with the breath and the stroke to get this done. And
And
I think that
homegrown.
homegrown. And the interesting part about it is like he keeps talking about the bidding war of 2024, and I think that there are shades of reality in that. But I feel like the fact that he has gotten this custom belt at this juncture in his career shows me that the bidding war has already started when it comes to AEW. This was their first kind of token saying this is what not only we can do for you, but what we are doing for you, and this is another reason why you should stay with us. So I think that that's very very interesting that they gave him this belt, and the belt is so beautifully designed because it's not it is the Burberry print. However, the way that it is designed, it's a heavy brown accent, so it's still dark. So you still see the pattern, but it still kind of retains like a little bit of prestige and class to it because it has that dark pattern and the gold doesn't clash with the strap. Like I think it's just perfect. The BBB is not only the BBB or the Big Burberry belt is not only a sign of who MJF is as a champion, but I think a sign of what AEW is willing to do to keep him. And so I think that that was a really really good belt, and I feel like it was a great debut. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that debut because what happened towards the end of that debut was pretty juicy. But also we got Hangman confronting John Moxley. So, and the question that I have for you pertaining to that was like, is that something that you want to see? Do you want to see another Moxley Hangman match?
I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I mean, I unfortunately didn't get to watch the whole opening. I had to go back and watch some clips, but I do find it very entertaining. Do I think it's necessary for them to go at it again? No, I don't
Mm.
particularly think so, but at the same time, it's like, who else is gonna go for Mox at the moment? Like, who else do they properly set up because we have already like our feuds that we kind of need to be going on and progressing. But it was so entertaining the way they set it up from the clips that I saw and the reactions that social media had. You know what? Maybe it's deserving of one more. But my question is why? Like, why are they having them go back at it again?
I
Like,
mean,
why that
I
choice?
I can see why. Number one of the things that I love about pro wrestling sports entertainment is when they are able to create feuds that have championship implications without a championship involved. And I feel like that is the perfect
Mhm.
way to have a feud that has a championship implication without having a championship involved. You put two guys head to head against each other that clearly have history. Their last match was for the world title. Nobody got pinned or submitted. Hangman can come back and say, listen, dog, like, yeah, you knocked me out, but you didn't pin me. You didn't submit me. You know what I mean? Like, and now you have something to go off of there because you have unfinished business. And you could also say, Hangman can also say, how you not gonna pin me or submit me and then lose my title? Now I gotta go through you, go through other people to get to MJF. You just made my path way more difficult than it has to be, and you didn't even beat me. So I definitely see the value in a Moxley versus Hangman match again, because once again, it's like you have championship implications, and you also have unfinished business. And I think that those two create a perfect storm in a way. So that's my reasoning why I think that it has value.
I like that. I like that take.
So going from that, uh we can touch on this like a little briefly. Bow Wow made his first AEW appearance via digital or what is it, satellite confrontation with Jade. And I just wanted you to kind of
He
give
was
your
recording with a
spiel
potato.
on I just wanted to know your take just on that segment, and what ensued from it.
I'll be honest, it was just corny to me, and I think it's because if they would have like caught him immediately when we saw that back and forth going on and had him come on the show within 2 weeks, that
Mm,
would have been lit. But then again, he kind of did like this through satellite, so it's like if that was your way of getting Bow Wow involved onto the show, that was kind of weak. I'm sorry,
mm,
like to wait this long after people stopped giving a fuck because like Bow Wow isn't like currently he's not really up there with celebrities. From what I'm hearing, this man's possibly broke. I don't know. But the thing is that like it's not going to add any value. I understand they're trying to like flash, a lot of celebrity names, from familiar faces. It was one thing when you had Fabulous there because everybody knows Fabulous and Fabulous is always doing all right. But Bow
mhm,
Wow for like this late, it was just kind of odd and it made me wonder like do they just not have anything in particular going on right now for Jade? Cuz they were
mm,
kind of odd about her. They threw out Kira Hogan out of nowhere, and then she kind of started off the show by talking about that she basically was cleaning up the baddies. She called out her um she called out Red Velvet and the other one about like why were you hanging out with her? And then it was just a weird quick transition just to plug in that yeah, we acknowledge the whole Bow Wow thing. Let's make it a thing.
mhm,
Um so I just found that it was just kind of like weak and I'm not sure if again they know what they're doing with Jade sometimes because the way she said it, she set it up correctly. She's talking about how you put her back in the locker room next to anyone. You know that she's the star of the show, which is correct. That no one looks like her, no one got a body like her. It's down the forth, and she's all these amazing things, but they just don't have anything proper for her. So I honestly just feel like when it comes to Jade, they need to just put her like towards working towards the AEW championship because I don't think
mm,
anyone is worthy of dethroning her at this point in time. So they're just giving her like these little side quests to do, and I don't like the side quests,
mm.
especially not with Bow Wow. Like, come on now, that's not gonna if anything. That's not gonna amp her up. It's not gonna elevate her. It's just to acknowledge that Bow Wow still exists. And nobody cares. That's Gen Z, to be honest, because they didn't really grow up with Bow Wow like we
Bow Wow.
did. And I
That
don't
makes
even
sense.
care. I don't even care. And I was born in '97. I don't even care that Bow Wow's there. So It was just weak. What do you think about Bow Wow's little satellite appearance through a potato?
Here's my honest opinion on it. First of all, do a potato is crazy. Second of all, here's I think it was smart. I think it was smart because you know what's worse than making a satellite appearance and not getting a pop? Coming in person and not getting a pop. Because if he were to go into that arena and he didn't get a reaction, that's money out of AEW's pocket, right? That's traveling, that's paying for him for an appearance, that's paying for his team. And now, by you doing a little video message, you can have Bow Wow a part of your show without having to go through the hassle of paying his whole team and flying him out and da 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 da. Da. So I think it was a good way to kind of like put it out there and in a way that would engage to see where like this feud can go. You know what I mean? Based on the audience response. The second thing is I've been very, very open about my respect for Boward Woward. However, what I
Howard.
will say, that's his full government name. Bow Wow's full government name is Boward Woward, not Shad Moss. Boward Woward. The reason why I believe that, while I don't think that this does anything for Jade in the wrestling ring, this does do her something when it comes to her crossover appeal, right? That Shade Room video had 5 million views. That's insane. 5 million views in less than a week. That's insane. And all the while she's doing Breakfast Club interviews and she's with Tamron Hall and she's like, it's very, very clear that the way that AEW sees Jade Cargill is the same way that WWE sees Bianca Belair. She is the crossover star. She is the mainstream appeal. And what happens is when you have the mainstream appeal and you have the crossover star, you want to position those people to do as much crossover mainstream appeal stuff as they possibly can. Could it possibly not be Bow Wow? Absolutely, right? I feel like there could definitely be a bigger name in the mix. This is who they have right now, though, and you can make it work because this is Bow Wow. This is someone who is interested in wrestling, who has put his name out there, and for better or for worse, this is a guy that generates press. So while I feel like this doesn't do anything for Jade as it pertains to the AEW locker room, it does do something for her crossover appeal in the sense that now you have something to give to Shade Room. Now you have something to give to these outlets, right? But yeah, I feel like she's going to be moving away from uh that AEW TBS championship and moving towards the world title unless they want to elevate the TBS title as being kind of like a secondary world title the way that WWE had the WWE championship and the world heavyweight title. um but at this point, if they're not, then Jay just needs to relinquish it and go after the world title, which I don't think that she's going to do because I think that she wants to elevate the title as well. Moving on from that, in addition to that confrontation, MJF attacked William Regal. I was very, very surprised at that actual move. I wanted to know your thoughts. I'm not going to get too in depth because I think this is going to flow into the next segment kind of perfectly, but I wanted to know your thoughts on this.
First of all, I yell, "Oh my gosh, my granddad is down. Someone go help my granddad." Like, I was very upset. That man has a neck problem, okay? And like he went
Right.
down very hard, okay? He had no life alert or nothing, okay? He just went down really hard.
Not
Nobody
life
had my
alert.
boy. I was very upset. I was very upset. I didn't expect the turn to happen so soon. I honestly
Hmm.
thought that they were going to make them a duo and, have William Regal coach him and like basically he was gonna milk Regal for everything that he's known for to do because he's very he's like known to be like the dirtiest heel, you know what I mean? So I
Hmm.
figured he was going to milk Regal, play on his emotions a little bit longer, and then reference what he referenced, which was the callback to that email from years ago that
Hmm.
ticked him off and broke him down. But am I mad that it happened so sudden? No, I'm actually not. I'm not because he kind of accomplished what he had to accomplish without doing what William Regal told him to do. You know what I mean? It was almost as
Mhm.
if for a moment he cared, right? Because you made him be vulnerable on stage and, admit his insecurities and as to why he cannot stand him or why he does the foolish things that he does. Not really foolish, vindictive things that he does. You know, he had played a role being a babyface and acting like he wants to protect John Moxley so he's fresh and he's at 100% for when he wants to beat his ass just to, do what we expected him to do and be a heel and do heel like things. Because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, he's still MJF and he's better than all of us. Um,
And we know it.
so yes, and we know it. So so I wasn't very upset that it was sudden because it was an MJF fashion either way. Um but it does lead to the question, why so sudden? What are we going to do with William Regal because he was such a prominent face and in such a big role on, for both main eventers John Moxley and um whatchamacallit, and
Brian
MJF.
Danielson.
So again, it does beg the question, what do you do with William Regal? Like, is there something in his contract that allows him to go elsewhere? Does he want a
Mm.
little break? Is he going to go on vacation? Or are we going to see him go to another brand? What is your take, and what do you think is to come of William Regal?
Sorry, I was looking at my notes while I was going over because I typed it out. Um,
You're
so
totally good.
I think that when it comes to the MJF William Regal dynamic, I was anticipating more like you. However, I feel like there is this heated debate, not heated debate, but there's this long standing debate in wrestling, which is if people cheer for you, are you a heel or can you be a heel? Right? The answer is no. I feel like William Regal, as much of a villain as he is loved, right? And I feel like if you attach that lovable person to you, you in turn will have some of that love as well, right? And I feel like MJF is building his brand as the devil himself, right? He is the ultimate villain. He is the ultimate bad guy. You know what I mean? And I feel like if you want to do that, you have to continue to do things that are going to get you hated. My bad. They're going to continue to do things that make you hated, and I feel like that is something that can potentially make you hated because William Regal is so admired and loved in the wrestling community. Um, I do believe that this can transition into other things. I'm going to get into that when the segment pops up, but I do think that this is a sign of where Regal is and, in his standing with AEW. I don't think he's going to be there for much longer. And I think that he's currently being transitioned gracefully on the way out. But yeah, as far as what do I feel about the whole MJF, hitting Regal, I think it was the right move. I think that it's something that William Regal would have wanted him to do, considering his brand of being a heel. And I think that it's very much in line because you got to also consider this, right? MJF's next opponent presumably is Ricky Starks, right? You have to continue to gain as much heat as you can when you go up against Ricky because Ricky's the ultimate babyface. People have been wanting to see Ricky and MJF forever. And people are starting to fall in love with Ricky Starks. So I feel like another way that you can enhance the quality of the baby face that you're going against is by increasing the heat on you as a heel. So that's just my little take and my little theory on
Yeah. Actually, the way that you put it made sense too, because he almost like crescendoed into this because
that.
he did
Mm-hmm.
even take a jab at the fact that people know that he's in Hollywood right now. And he teased the idea that, oh, like I forgot from where he said, but he basically teased the idea that he's going to Hollywood, which I thought was cool. In a heelish move because yeah, don't play on our heartstrings, man. We fell in love with you. Even if you're the
Right.
biggest dick to us, we love you. So he did try to pull on our heartstrings with that, which was a nice way of crescendoing. He name dropped, I think, Nick and Triple H, basically saying like, he could jump ships and he might just leave here, which was another dickhead heel move because AEW fans are pretty loyal to this brand.
Right.
So for him to even tease the idea that, yeah, I might just leave this shit and go over there because I could do whatever the fuck I want. I got Tony Khan's balls in my hand right now, bitch. You know what I mean? Like that was also like a fire heel move to make us hate you. But then to just lead it all up with like all the slandering, the changing of the bells, shitting on the way that it looked, making fun of the Indiana fans or whatnot, then just out of nowhere, just dropping that bomb with William Regal, yeah, like, I think he was just trying to pull out any stop possible for y'all to hate him, which we're never gonna actually hate him because he's so good at what he does, but
Right.
when you painted the way you just did, along with me thinking back with the way he tried to cut that promo yesterday, that was actually excellent, and now that I think about it, I take back what I said, it should have been done just like that.
I made Mo a believer. Let's go.
Yet
I
again.
did it. Anywho, but speaking of William Regal,